Hello everyone. In our previous videos of grade 9, we have studied about the people who had settled in the northern part of the country and they developed. In this video, we will be studying about the people who had settled into South India and they also developed in their own ways, own skills. Now, what was this people called as? They were also known as Dravidians. We all have studied in history that the India was divided into two parts, Aryans and Dravidians. So today we will be studying about the people, Dravidians, how their lifestyle was, how was their culture, their caste system, economic system, as well as the way they led their life. And also, what are the proof? Generally, when we are talking about the proof, we don't have much about the South India. But in this topic, the chapter which we are discussing, we are having enough literary sources to give us the information about that period. The period of which we are discussing right now, Sangam Age. Sangam age was the period when three different kingdoms were existing in the southern part of the country. So, what is this Sangam? Sangam means assembly or sabha, where the poets, scholars, and the great educationalists they used to meet at the place called as Madurai in Tamil Nadu, and they used to discuss their knowledge. And all this knowledge were compiled into a book called as Sangam literature. So, what was this literature telling us? It was telling us about the culture, it was telling about the caste, religious belief of the people of Sangam age or the southern part. Sangam age. As you can see in this map, it covers the South India and the three kingdoms can be seen, the Cholas, the Pandya and the Chera. Now talking about the Sangam age. Sangam means coming together. It's a kind of an assembly or sabha. Sangam age refers to the age when many Tamil scholars, poets came together in three successive literary gatherings called as Sangam. Pandyas, Cheras and the Cholas were always at war but it didn't affected this literature. Talking about the sources, there are two types of sources, literary and archaeological. Literary sources in which we will be studying about Tirukural, and in archaeological sources we will be studying about the megaliths. Now, if you will see in this image, you can see a great poet called as Thiruvalluvar who has written Tirukural. Out of the 18 great poems of Sangam literature, Tirukural is considered as one of the most important poem. It contains proverbs of many aspects of life and religion. It is the combination of Dharma Shastra, Artha Shastra and Kama Sutra. It is having 133 chapters in it. It preaches simplicity and truth. All these 133 chapters are divided into three sections, namely Aram, Porul, Kaman and archaeological sources. We will be studying about the megaliths. Now, this archaeological sources which gives us information is about the megaliths. Now, what are megaliths? If you can see in the picture, you will find the huge large stones. Those were the megaliths. Mega means large, stone means lithic. So these huge stones were found at the burial sites where the dead bodies were buried in the southern part. It was into the box like structure which was erected with stones without using any mortar. It was also called as memorial stones. Here are the some sites where the megaliths are found. This chart will tell you about the literary and archaeological sources points which will be helpful for you to give in the exams. Both the sources, archaeological and literary sources, provide us a great deal of information about the people of the Sangam age, Dravidians, belief, and their culture. Talking further about their society and occupation, we will be studying about what kind of a crops, what kind of a trade was existing here, and before that we will study about the society, what kind of a castes were there. We have already studied in the northern part caste system was very much rigid into later Vedic age. What was the condition of the Sangam age or the people of South India? We are going to discuss now. Now, talking about the society of the Sangam age, first we are going to discuss about the caste system. The caste system was same as like in the northern part. It were divided into Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas. They were the social outcast and forest tribe. We can consider them as the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribes. Brahmins had the very important position. They were also given the important, you can say, job in the courtroom of the king. They were given huge kind of a profit. They were given huge kind of a salaries for their services. Kshatriyas and as of course were the warrior class, and Vaishyas were the traders or the merchants. Now there was a huge difference in the social class. The other upper three class were economically very strong, whereas the social outcast and the forest tribes, they had to work really hard for their livelihood. It was also found that the living style of the social or the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribes, it was so difficult that they had to struggle even for one day of food or livelihood. The class system, when we are talking, it was the Arasar who were the ruling class, Velalas were the people who were the landholders, and the bards were the Brahmin poet who used to sing poets or recite poets in the appreciation and praising the king and the warriors. Kadasaryas, they were the agricultural laborers. Now, all these names are the Tamil names, and we have to learn that properly to attempt in the exams. It is also found that uh, because of the war and the capture of the land and foreign trade which was practiced into the Sangam age, the king utilized all that extra wealth to develop the kingdom. And also, the reasons for wars were marriage. Okay, marriage was one reason because of which many wars had happened. Now, talking about the marriage, it was an important ceremony. There is a book of Tolkappiyam which was written by Tolkappiyar. It tells us that Dravidians had an impact of Aryans to do the marriage with religious rituals and in a grand style. Okay, it was the Aryans who inspired the Dravidians to do the marriage on a large and the grand scale. Before that, the Tamilians were considering the marriage as a natural coming of the two people who want to get married or who are attracted to each other, and it will happen naturally. But after the introduction of the Aryans, things changed. Talking about the position of the women in the society. First, we'll discuss about the family life. Family was the joint family system which was existing into the Sangam age. The position of the women was very good. They were respected, they got education, but they could not inherit the property of their family. Means they were not the property was not transferred to them after the senior member's death, it was going to the son. It was also found that many women's, taking inspiration from the Jain and the Buddhist monks, practiced chastity, means they did not marry, they wandered place to place in the service of the mankind, and they did not had their family life. The worship of Kanagi and Patini suggests that vow of chastity was regarded as the great of feminine virtues. Image of Patini Devi were being preserved and worshipped by the Tamilians, which shows that the women were respected very much. Talking about the religious and the rituals of the Sangam period, Brahmanism was practiced. The Brahmins used to recite Vedic hymns in praise of God, and it was also Vedic philosophy were discussed during the time of Sangam age. Lord Vishnu was worshipped on a huge scale, plus Lord Murugan was also worshipped in the hilly areas. Apart from Brahmanism, and we can also call as the part of Hinduism which was practiced, it was Jainism and Buddhism which was practiced here as well. So this was the social information about the Sangam period. That's really amazing. The condition of the society in the Sangam age was almost the same as of the northern part of the country. Even here, we had the caste discrimination, social class, as well as the position of the women was not that different. Now, talking about the occupations and the trading system. Because of the coastal areas around the Sangam period, it was the trade which provided the great deal of profit to the people of the Sangam age. We are going to discuss all that factors now in details. Talking about the economic condition of the Sangam period, the economic during the Sangam age was very simple and self-sufficient. The Sangam society had rich and poor people in the society. Wealthy included kings and his known ones. Poor included farm laborers, musicians, etc. Poverty was considered as the result of past action. People believed in earning money and living well. They had many skill sets as well. Discussing about the economic system of Sangam age in details, first we'll discuss about the occupation. Agriculture was the main occupation. Land was very much fertile here. River Kaveri helped for the better agriculture into the Chola region, and it was also a saying that a small area of land used to produce huge crops. Apart from regular crop, it was jackfruit and pepper and turmeric which was produced during the time of Sangam age. Pariyars were the people who used to do the farming instead of the rich people into Sangam age. Trade. Both the trade, internal and external trade, were practiced. Foreign traders were called as Yavanas. Manimekalai by grain merchant which was written into Madurai gives us the information that the Sangam people had tradings with the foreigners as well. Spices, pearls, sea products, textiles were exported, whereas metal lamp and wine bottles gives us information about the import of the product. The gold coins found of the Romans tell us that they were having the great trading relations with the Romans as well. Talking about the trading system, the foreign trade was boosted by the two coasts or the two ports at Nowra and Nelsida, which was also known as Kanor, and Kottayam. Yavanapriya was the name given to the foreigners in Sanskrit. Other occupations were weaving, making of the ornaments, metal work, shipbuildings, making cotton products as well. These were the occupations which the Sangam people did. As there were many occupations, it was also found that to give support to every occupation, there was a guild. Now, what is guilds? Guilds are the group of a particular occupation which takes the responsibility to provide help and fights for the rights of the people. Guilds also decide about the prices and the quality of the product. Like in the modern day, we are having the guilds or a group of doctors association, like we are having the teachers association, we are having about the workers association. So in the same way, there were a guild of the farmers traders into the Sangam period, okay, to fight or to provide them the proper rights and to work for a one same price. It was like a system like united we are strong and divided we fall. So all the guilds member, every occupations guild was united by themselves. Coming to the social economic inequality, of course, rich and poor class was existing. The rich were having the kings, brahmins, traders, royal priests, etc., who used to live in a very uh, well maintained houses, whereas the poor were the hunters, landless, farmers. They had to work hard for their livelihood. Even the houses of the poor class were like huts made of mud, etc. I hope this has provided the enough information about the social and the economic class of the Sangam age. I hope this video was very useful to you to understand the concept of the Sangam age. We have already discussed so many stuff about that period. In our next video, we will be discussing few more concepts related to 9th ICSE. See you all soon.